So I'm Susan Repka. I'm one of the co-founders of B2G Victory. I am a proposal writer and a certification expert. Julie is not joining me today. However, you're going to see me refer to us as if she's standing here. Just go with the flow here, because we usually do these together. Today, we want you to drop contact information into the chat. Colby is joining me today, and she's working the back end. She's also going to be dropping some really important information for everyone into the chat. That's where you're going to get all the links that we're going to talk about. That's where those will be. If you have a question during the session, you can drop your question into the Q&A. I'm monitoring it. Colby's monitoring it. We'll get to that answer as soon as we get to a breaking point. Or you can raise your hand. Either way, the Q&A is a little bit easier. So just drop it in there. And as we get to a stopping point or in an area where there's a little break in there, we'll answer any of the questions in the Q&A. We do want this to be interactive. So please, please drop a question. If you have a question, someone else on the call also has that question and is just being shy. All right. So B2G Victory. Who are we? Why are we here? What do we do? Because we're having you drop your information into the chat. So we do certifications and recertifications. So again, I am a certification expert. I help companies determine what certifications fit their company and what certifications they're eligible for, and then help them develop a plan to get those certifications. And yes, I can assist you with that, but we do try and give you all of the information so that you can decide whether you want help or you want to do it on your own. We do capture management, business development, help you decide who your targets are. Proposals. Yes, we help write proposals. So we work with you to get all of that information out of your head into the document to put together and submit to that government entity that you want to do business with. We help find the opportunities and we develop the strategy. We also do all of the registrations. It seems every single government entity has a separate registration process, and we simplify that for you to do on your own. We can also help you get all of those submitted. Process improvement. Even if you've been in this game for a while, you've been playing in the government contracting sandbox, I like to call it, there's always room to improvement. And sometimes having that third or fourth set of eyes on something can help you streamline that process a little bit so that your internal team can submit faster and win more contracts. We do training and coaching, either one-on-one. Clients come in and just say, okay, I want 10 hours of just conversation and questions and what are some things that you suggest that we do? Or we do group training like we are today. So we do have an action-packed webinar today. We only have about an hour. We're going to cover a lot of information on prime versus subcontracting. So often small businesses run into the challenge when they are going after a government contract is that government entity wants them to have experience in government contracting. Well, it's very much like getting a job right out of college. You can't get the job because you don't have any experience. You can't get the experience because you can't get a job. So we're going to show you a little bit about how subcontracting may be that vehicle to help you get that experience. So I see Janet says she is new to government contracting, haven't submitted any bids. That's okay. Everyone has to start somewhere. We're going to see during this process, if we can, maybe identify a way to get some subcontracting opportunity. All right. Once you get like into this, it's like, how do I meet people? Because, and we say it all the time, suit up, show up. How do we get people to, like, where do you need to be? Like, how do you suit up and show up if you don't know where to show up? Because you want to use your networking time. It is work, but you want to use it wisely, because we all know time is money. We are going to talk about the B2G Victory Portal and how can you use the resources that we provide you. We have time for questions and answers along the way, and then at the end, and then we'll talk about next steps. So this is Julie and I. We co-founded B2G Victory after we were working sort of side by side in separate companies. And the reason we co-founded it is because we wanted to create this portal. We knew that more small businesses had the capacity and the capability to do the government contracting. They just needed a little help along the way. And the portal is the answer. There's two of us. It would be almost impossible for us to reach as many people as we would love to, given, the hours in the day, right? So the portal is a way that we can help you along the way, even when you're not face-to-face with us. So we want you to take advantage of this and participate. So I'm going to show you just some things that you can find on the portal that might make your life a little easier along this path. So today we're going to learn about government contracting opportunities, both prime and sub. We're going to give you some foundation to ensure that you are successful in this space. Save you time, avoid mistakes. This is not going to cover everything that you need in government contracting. We do not have days and days and days and days, which we would. We didn't. And of course, the information that we provide you does not guarantee that you will win a government contract with any government agency. So Reginald, I am very happy that you used V2G to do that victory book. So that victory book is the tool that we use for all of our clients to keep them organized. Because let me tell you something, that's a lot of information you're having to do together and keep in one space. All right, remember, if you have a question, if you drop it in the Q&A, it is going to be a lot easier for me to see that question. The chat fills up very quickly, and it's very hard for me to go back and look at everything that's happened. So again, if you have a question, the Q&A is going to get you a faster answer. And since somebody's following directions here, thank you. All right, Tiana, extremely new to all this. I don't have a company to contract with, but I like to be more of a facilitator, which is where my experience, data analysis and management. So that sounds a perfect subcontracting role. Every contract that has a subcontracting small business goal has to do monthly reporting on how much business that they spent with those subcontractors that they used. They also need help gathering those subcontractors, helping vet them. So some of that data analysis could come into play there. So that, so one of the things that I would suggest when we give an early tip is go to some of these pre-bids that have large subcontracting goals to help them with that process. I hope that provides you with some insight of how you could make this work. Without knowing a lot about your company, that's just off the top of my head. All right, this is going to be an engaging session. You can see that I'm going to be answering questions as we go along. We do have time for questions during the presentation. Hopefully we'll have some at the end. We do want you to put together your victory plan. Government contracting is not a short sprint. It is a very long strategic plan for your company. So you should be working on it on a continuous basis to ensure that you are successful. Sure, there are companies that have started and gotten a government contract right off the bat. That's not the norm. Normally, it takes a while to build up, starting out by subcontracting, starting out by informal bids, and then moving into being the prime and managing the entire project. So we want you to be successful, and we find that going at a continuous path will make you more successful. All right, we want you to listen, participate. Let us know how some of the information that I provided you helped you. So at the end, I'm going to ask you, what are you going to do next week? All right, let's be honest. What are you going to do the second week of July? Next week doesn't really count, does it? Provide feedback and then share and celebrate successes. We're all in this together. Small businesses should be celebrating each other. All right. The victory plan. What are you doing this month? Okay, this month is over. What are you doing in Q3? And is anyone else just absolutely shocked that we are now moving into Q3? I swear we just celebrated the brand new year and now we're celebrating the 4th of July. So if getting certified and all of these steps that you need to be in government contracting is your goal for the year, you better get started. Year's almost over. What are you doing in Q3, Q4, and then of course next year? Let's start planning for our 2026. All right. So now let's talk about why there is subcontracting and understanding how the roles play. Now I know we probably have some non-Houstonian people in the room, so to speak, but we are going to kind of focus on the Houston area, just because I know these organizations and I know their goals and I understand. But if you're not from Houston, it's very easy to find out the information I'm providing for Houston in whatever area you're in. So let's start with the why. I've picked 6 organizations that we do a lot of work with here in the Houston area, and these are their goals. Now, state, local, and education do not have set-asides. They have goals. However, they are very serious about their goals. Matter of fact, Metro, if you don't meet their small business goal, your proposal does not even get reviewed. It does not get past the small business team. So these goals are written into the contract. Why? These entities want to make sure that their suppliers and their providers are as diverse as their client base, as their taxpayers, as their people in their classrooms. So when you look at the Houston market, or if you look at the market across the US, we are a very diverse nation. And it's important for government entities to recognize that and to ensure that they have diversity in who they are spending money with. And then, to be perfectly honest, one of the reasons they like working with small businesses, either at a subcontracting level or even at the prime level, is because small business owners have much better service. They're going to respond to phone calls. You can't call a large corporation and get the owner to answer the phone and provide you with a solution to your challenge the way that you can a small business. I was like, Janet, do you have the percentages for Hub Certified? The way the state of Texas breaks it down is by different industries, and we will show that today. I'm only Hub, but my DBE, WBE is in final stages. That's fine, because you can continue looking for opportunities while it's in process. So you're just looking for further out down the pipeline, not an immediate opportunity, but one, go to the Port Houston and see what they have coming down and the next, and so does Metro. They'll put what they're planning on their big projects in the next 6 to 8 months. So you have a bigger window to play with. All right. So here's what this is. You've got your prime contractor, you have your subcontractors, and in all honesty, you can have subcontractors of the subcontractors, right? So those are tiered levels. So the prime contractor has works directly with the government entity. They have subcontractors, and then those subcontractors may sub out some of their piece of the project to additional subcontracting. And yes, all of that rolls back into the number that those government entities use to report their overall spend. All right, the easiest way to explain it, I do have some construction people on the call, is through the construction. It gives you that visual. So you have your general contractor, your project manager, and then you have your painting, sheetrock, electrical, HVAC, plumbing. All of that rolls up into that project. But that works with any industry. It could be marketing, and you're subbing out some of the social media management or the email marketing piece of it. But the large agency is managing the project and brings in those smaller subs to help do some of the work. All right, so the general contractor or project manager is the contract holder. So they are the ones that are overall are responsible for the project's success, which is a lot of weight for a business, especially if you're working with a multi-million-dollar project, or it's a long-term project that lasts 5 years. So they're always going to be responsible for all of their work, as well as all of the QA, QC of the subcontractors. They do the invoicing to that government entity. They normally carry all or most of the insurance. They may ask the subs to also have a specific insurance, but usually not at the same level. They are the primary contract. They're the ones providing the updates, not only on the project success, but also that small business reporting. So the subcontractor does their scope of work. They go in, they do their work, they invoice that prime. They do their, the best job that they can. They're a good team player, but they're also helping to meet those small business goals. Now, I often get small businesses contact me and say, hey, somebody sent me this opportunity. What do I do? Have a conversation with whoever sent it. They should be letting you know what scope they want you to perform. So one of the first things you're going to do when you get one of those random emails is you are going to go in and you're going to find that bid. And you're going to review that scope of work. Where do you fit in? And you need to have a conversation with that prime. This is the work I can do. And have a conversation of how much what is your pricing. They need all of that information to submit So you should be having that conversation early on so that you're not blindsided with a scope that you don't even perform. All right, so this is where your certifications really come into play. Again, I lived in the world of certification since 1998. And I have always had let people know that if you can get certified, get certified. Certification is something that you need before you need it. And if you are working with another business who happens to start going after government contracting, even if you're not directly going after it, but if your current client is going after a government contract and they come to you and say, well, I assume you're certified, you're woman owned or minority owned. And you go, no, I'm not. They're like, they're going to have to go find someone else. So if you have these certifications as you are beginning this process, the sooner you get them, the better. Just make sure that they fit your business and be very patient because as I think Janet mentioned earlier, she is still in the process of trying to get her certifications. So I did a session last night, if I have any of the Baker Ripley on the call, where we walked through certification and what all of the SBEs, MBEs, DBEs, ACBBEs, VOSBs, and all of the alphabet mean and how that can help your company. Now, if you're going to go through the process of getting certified as a woman, as a minority, as a veteran, a service disabled veteran, make sure that you have a plan in place to use that certification. If not, you are spending a lot of time. And again, you're going to hear me say this several times today. Time is money. So here are the all of the different certifications you can get in the Houston area. So take the time to understand what these are, who provides them, and then what do you do with them? And that's going to help you target either government entities to be a prime or primes to be a subcontractor. Janet, we do not share these slides. However, we will share the recording. The session is being recorded. So you will get sort of the slides. All right. So we talked about some of the benefits of being in this space. So some of the benefits of being the prime contractor. You have the relationship with that government entity, good, bad, and ugly. You're the one that's going to be talking to them on a regular basis and building that rapport and really developing a strong relationship for the next project that's coming down the street, right? Because you're the one that they're talking to. They know the subs, but they don't know the subs, right? Full project control. I know there's some type A people in this room that you just want to make sure that you have control over the entire project. And while you are overseeing subcontractors, or the subcontractor is over their specific area, it's not full project control. So some of the primes prefer to self-perform, but they often have to subcontract out. So they like a little bit more control. And so they're going to be having multiple conversations with the subcontractors, and they develop that communication plan from the sub to the prime, and then the prime to the government entity. And there's higher revenue potential. So if you, we're going to take Metro, for instance. Metro has a 35% goal in most of their contracts. Not all of them, because it is set based on the services that are required, as well as the number of small businesses that can possibly subcontract on. But we'll just say we're going to use their normal 35%. Well, that's 65% that the prime will get. So that higher revenue potential for them. So that is off one of the biggest benefits from being the prime, right? You're going to get a little bit more money than your subcontractors. And the opportunities for growth. As you are doing these bigger contracts, you can grow a little bit faster than some of the subcontracting. But there are benefits to being a subcontractor. You're getting those access to opportunities that if you have never done government work that you might not get if you go straight for the prime contract. You get to use your specialized expertise, right? You're not doing everything. You're doing what you do and what you do well, getting paid for it, and then you can, a little bit more flexibility, can exit stage left while the contract finishes. You did your part. You got your money. You've moved on to the next subcontracting opportunity. There's a reduced risk. If you're only doing what you're really good at, it's less risk when you're trying to manage some subs that may not be maybe they don't have the same work ethics as you. So there are, like I said, definitely some very strong benefits to being a subcontractor. Also cost savings. You're not having to carry all of the insurance. Just do what you do. And there's the last one that's not on here. It's a stepping stone to be prime if you choose to be prime one day. You have to have the experience. And this shows that you have worked on a government contract. All right, so now let's start with one of the things I said, regardless of whether you're prime or sub, one of the things you need to do is read the full document. Pay attention to the RFP. Look at the scope of work. Look how the invoicing also happens. As a subcontractor, you need to understand how the prime is getting paid and understand how the prime is to pay you. So when you get your subcontracting agreement, you see that the flow down pieces of that agreement are the way it is written in the RFP. All right, so Colin, I see your you didn't put it in the Q&A, but I do see it in the chat. How do we know when we're ready to make the jump from sub to being a prime? I have to say, if you're not sure, you're not ready. And the reason is because, maybe you have to have all of the pieces in place. And you have to have, and that includes your own list of potential subcontractors. So one of the things you can work on while you're subbing is start building that database of potential subcontractors when you are ready to be prime. Start with a small project. Be a prime on a small project and see how it goes. Develop your systems and then go after larger projects. It's not easy to go from prime to sub to prime. And then there are companies that do both. So there are sub on some jobs and they are a prime on others. All right, so Tiana, let's say you try to subcontract but realize you may be in over your head. What happens then? First off, if you feel like you're getting over your head and you've already signed the subcontractor agreement, Read that agreement carefully, and then have a conversation with your prime contractor. See if there's something that they can help you with. Maybe they can provide you some resources. Maybe they can, or if it just becomes where it's not going to work, the prime contractor, the subcontractor, and that government entity will sit down with a conversation and figure out an exit plan and what happens next. Don't feel like you have to lose money on it just because you sign. If you're not making money, throw up a white flag early in the process. And also don't feel like it is a life sentence, right? If it's not working, have that honest, open conversation with your contact at that prime. And then again, if it becomes where we are going to have to part ways, then have it with the actual government entity. So I had a prime sub relationship that I had matched make, right? So I put them together and it went south very fast. And we were able to bring in that government entity to try their best to try and salvage it. And then finally said, okay, this is the plan moving forward. And they parted ways, but that pulling in that government entity helped salvage the relationship the subcontractor had with that government entity, because it, unfortunately, the prime was not doing what they should. So that's the kind of the way that this process works. But always, if you are not making money, throw up a white flag early into the process. You are not here to lose money. So that just means that you need to sit down and work on your pricing and sharpen your pencil a little bit better. And what does the no contact period mean? At any time, once a contract hits the street, or nowadays posted online, then you go into what is called a blackout period, a no contact period, the code of silence, where the only way you can ask a question is through the process laid out in that RFP, RFQ, or IFB. They will give you very specific instructions on the process that you will use to ask any questions. You cannot go ask your neighbor that works there, or I had someone tell me, oh, it's okay, I know somebody on the board. I'm like, well, you can't ask them that because they can't answer that. So you have to ask the question the way that they say. And that blackout period is to ensure that everybody is treated equally. So when you ask a question, the questions are provided to everyone that has indicated they are interested in that project. All right, so read your RFP, IFB, RFQ. Make sure you understand it and what everybody's role is, how everybody gets paid, and the scope of work that you can do. So one of the biggest questions that we get from people who want to subcontract or want to prime but don't know how to actually make those connections with the large, with the government entity or the prime. So one of the fastest way, and actually I answered that for someone else, go to a pre-submittal conference. You're going to meet the hub coordinator or the small business liaison, and have conversations with some potential primes that are in the ring. You get to have a conversation with the buyer. That is during the cone of silence or the blackout period, but the buyer's up there talking about the project. Now you can ask a question during that session. They're going to possibly provide you an answer, and they will also probably tell you you need to email this question in so that we can add it to the list of questions. And sometimes your question actually causes an amendment to the project, to the RFP, RFQ, or IFB, because they need to provide additional information. All right, you're also going to meet other subs. So all of that is potential money for you. So suit up, show up. So another question we often get is, what do I wear to a pre-bid? It depends on your industry. If you're a catering company, your logoed shirt with your catering company's name. Construction, you're going to see them in jeans and a logoed shirt. If you're professional service, if you're going after a opportunity to provide legal services, you are going to show up like you're going to court. So wear what you wear. All right, attend an event. How many of you have ever been to what is called the Greater Houston Business Procurement Forum? Just type a yes in the chat if you've been. I know Mr. Ace Handyman has been there. I saw him on Wednesday. This event brings in a different set of government entities each month. It's normally held on Tuesday, except when it's held on Wednesday. You have to kind of keep your eye on this, but this event brings in, this week was all about disasters, preparing for hurricanes and preparing for this type of information. Then next month is going to be how to do business with the city of Houston. And then there will be one on education, how to do business with either the K-12 or the higher ed space. So all of these different monthly events bring you in contact with different government entities. The B2G Victory tries to collect as many events as possible and put them on our website, as well as the state of Texas. If you go look at the just Google State of Texas Hub events, they also have an amazing calendar of events that is posted. So these are ways for you to know what's going on and where you need to be. You can't suit up and show up unless you know where you need to show up. All right, so great way. You should be, Janet, you should be able to click on the 3 buttons and download the chat. Oh, Colby, thank you, Colby. The chat will be recorded with the video. I don't usually do the back end of the chat, so I don't know. All right, we do have an event. If you are in the construction and you are Hub certified, or you are in the process of getting Hub certified, because you should be Hub certified by November, then I highly recommend the B2G Victory is partnering with MD Anderson Cancer Center to offer our second Pancakes with Primes, where we bring in MD Anderson's 12 large prime contractors, which is included, I'm not going to be able to name them all, but I am going to try. Tellefson, J.E. Dunn, Turner Construction, Manhattan, Vaughn Construction, Spalglass, Skanska, Bellows, Noble Construction, Austin Commercial. Ooh, forgot the one at the top. Austin Commercial. Oh, Layton Construction. Those are Layton, Austin, and Turner are breakfast sponsors. They're paying for the pancakes. So important. Those are important people, right? All of them are important, but they all have construction projects with MD Anderson, and they need to meet Hub goals. To meet Hub goals, they need to meet Hubs. All right. Do some of these companies more likely work with smaller subs? Actually, yes, Janet. A lot of the companies that are participating, not in the matchmaking, but in the actual expo piece of it, are large subcontractors that have to meet Hub goals. So Austin Commercial, we're going to use them, has a group of large subcontractors. Well, for Austin to meet their goal, they're going to have those subcontractors into their sub agreement has to meet certain goals. So again, that third tier, so Austin subcontracts out to a large, I'm trying to think, Baker Concrete. And Baker Concrete then subcontracts out some of that work to some Hub certified companies. So it flows down or flows up, depending on how you want to look at that. All right, so when you suit up and show up, have a capability statement in your hand to hand out. Now, you also know that when you hand something to someone at a conference or an event, because we have all been to events and got that bag, you know, that bag that you stick everything in that you're talking to people. You pick up all the little fun squeezy things off the table, or maybe a pen or a eyeglass cleaner. You put it in your bag, you get home, and now you got to go to work, like work, and you put your bag down and you don't look at that bag again until you need the bag. So even though you've handed out your capability statement and made that first impression, you are going to want to follow up. A handwritten note is beautiful. People love those. A phone call, an email, but be patient and be polite. Some of these, and we have someone from the state of Texas, one of the state agencies can tell you, they go to many of these events and they meet a lot of people. So do not try and like call 3 times and then all of a sudden get an attitude and leave a snippy email about I've called you 3 times and you haven't called me back. And now they're not. So I do highly be polite, be patient and polite. All right, so Janet has another question. As a small sub, should my goal likely be going after the larger subs for this breakfast? I would go ahead and meet with some of these primes because you get to have a matchmaking with 3 of those primes. One of those I do highly recommend would be Austin or Layton because they do work together. And they're going to give you some more insight of what subs you were likely to target, and then go visit those subs in the actual expo. So don't miss the opportunity to have a sit-down conversation with a large prime contractor, but also understand you will be visiting those subcontractors in their booth. So what we're trying to do, if you can't go in the front door, try the back door. That doesn't work, try a side window. That doesn't work, go down the chimney. Find a way to get in. So start with that prime and then work your way down the process, because they're there to help you too. They're going to tell you, this is who we buy this service from. This is who you need to contact. All right. So one of the things you're also going to want to do is register as a vendor. You can register as a vendor even if you are not a certified company. That is going to give you access to all kinds of information and help you do research, because you need to know who's playing in your sandbox, as well as you need to know about these organizations, whether it's a government entity or a prime contractor. All right, so the difference between registration and certification: anybody can register for any entity saying that I want to do business. What did you say? I want to do business with you. This is what my company does. This is my NAICS codes or my NAGP codes, depending if you're doing federal or state, local or education. You fill that information out, and then you start, and often you have to be registered before you can even apply for certification. So go ahead and get that registration. That is going to be on your to-do list for July, is you are going to determine what entities you want to do business with, and you are going to get registered. And then if you're not certified, you're going to work on that. All right, so if you want to do business with the federal government, you must be registered in SAM. I'm sorry, the System of Awards Management, known fondly as SAM. And that is going to give you all of the everything that you need to do business with the federal government. It's going to help you find opportunities. So again, anyone can be registered on SAM. It usually takes 10 business days. And that is a little bit funny to me because it usually takes more than 10 business days, but we'll go with 10 because that's what they publish. It does go through a series of checks. One of the things that you can do to make sure that it goes through is you want to make sure that your address for the IRS, the address on your legal documents, and the address listed on the Secretary of State's website match. If they don't match, it will kick it back for more questions. You want to register on the centralized master's bidder list. You want to have all of your information there. The great thing about the CMBL is they can send you information if it is an informal bid. And I do believe we have a session scheduled for next month on informal and formal and what that means for your company. It is only $70 a year and it is well worth it. They send you opportunities. You can also, if you're looking for federal, you can do some research on USA spending of where the federal government is spending taxpayer money. If you want to know what's going on in the state of Texas, Electronic State Business Daily Search, that is a site I go to at least 3 times a week to see what's being posted, especially on Monday. TxDOT likes to post all of their information on Friday afternoons. But it is a great way. And not only state agencies use that site, but City of Missouri City and other places use that as well. And I am running out of time. Whew, I talk a lot. Hang on, Janet. Give me just a few more minutes and I'll stop answering your question. Also look at Fort Bend, Port Houston, Harris County, Houston Community College, Metro. Who is doing, what government entities on your backyard? If you're not from the Houston area, look at this list and go, okay, what school districts are in my area? What county? Look up Tarrant County procurement, and it's going to take you to their procurement site. Look at Austin, the city of Austin, Austin procurement. It will take you to their procurement site. So Google will be your best friend. All right, now's the question slide. And I'm going to answer Janet's questions. Any tips on the best way to navigate the many government websites to check jobs specific to my company? This is a system I use, and I am looking for about 40 different companies. So I'm looking for, I have websites all across Texas that I look at. I save them in a special check website folder, and I just go once a week and go through all that list. State of Texas, I look at, like I said, 3 times a week, just because it's more active. But yes, we do help companies find opportunities if we are working with them on a continuous basis. That is one of the services we provide. Is there a direct link we can get to review subcontracting jobs in Texas? Tiana, I wish. That would be amazing. It is not. You almost have to open up different RFPs or RFQs and find out what they do and whether it fits. Usually you can tell by the title if it is something that could possibly have to do with your company, but often you just have to open them up. Okay, then how can we see the last award contract for local? If they are using the Bonfire platform, it is more than likely going to be on past opportunities. If it says it's been awarded, you can open that up and look at that. If you cannot find one, you can do a request for information and ask providing your NIGP code and some additional information, see who the incumbent is on a current bid, when the last bid was, etc. That is a 90-day process. So go look and see if you can find past opportunities on their website. Or like I said, if it's on Bonfire, most bonfires have it under past opportunities. All right, let's take a few quick glimpses at the portal. We have quick answers. We provide you with frequently asked questions. And I believe that Colby has either just updated the frequently asked questions or is in the process of updating the frequently asked questions, because we take questions that we get at seminars as we're doing, like the LiftFund Hubs certification class. Questions that we get, we put on our frequently asked questions. Because again, if one person asks it, other people have it in their head. All right, we help you gain time, save money, because time is money, and avoid some headaches. So when you log on to the portal for your very first time, it's going to say, hey, this is how you get started in government contracting, and give you some videos we would like you to watch to get more familiar with the process if you do not have a lot of experience with government contracting. We have a glossary, because let's face it, we use a lot of acronyms, a lot of words. I've mentioned RFP, RFQ, and IFB about 17 times today, and some of you may not know what those words are. That's why we created this glossary of frequently used words and acronyms in our space. We also have videos. Julie and I have been working together. B2G Victory hasn't been around that long, but we've been working together since 2018. We have over 100 videos on how to do business, subcontracting opportunities. And then we have, just lots of different snippets. And then we also have 90-minute sessions online. They're on the portal for you as a reference. And so we've broken some of those 90 minutes out into short snips so that you can just say, hey, Susan mentioned NIGP codes numerous times today. Let me go in and see what that means. And is there a video, or if you prefer to read, a blog with that particular term? Frequently asked questions. Again, we like to make sure that we capture all of the questions from our different sessions, or that we just get asked, or even questions that somebody has asked during the proposal process that we go, that is something all of our members need to know. Again, please suit up, show up, come look at one of our events that we have posted. Be at Milton's Breakfast. Come to, if you are interested in getting Hub certified, come to the LiftFund Hub session in July. If you are a veteran-owned business, I am actually doing, and I don't know if it's posted yet, simply because I'm still gathering all the information from LiftFund. I am doing a LiftFund session on VOSB and SDVOSB certification next month. Here is our quick and easy upcoming events. The Hub Blueprint is scheduled for July 23rd. It is in person. It is an 8-hour day. It is a lot of me, but we make it super fun and we have a good time, and you get pizza. We also have another member-only webinar, formal versus informal. Again, that is a great way for smaller businesses to get into the government contracting space. Those informal bids do not have a long, drawn-out process. You simply provide a quote. And we're doing, Julie is doing an Excel 101 with the Houston Apartment Association on July 29th. Julie is an Excel genius. She can make Excel do all kinds of things. Well, actually, she makes it do what it's supposed to do. It's not just a database. All right. Are these members only? The Excel 101, you do have to be a member with the Houston Apartment Association. Janet, I would look at that. The Houston Apartment Association may very well be a really great an association for you to join with what you do. Because let me tell you, apartments need painting and finishing a lot. Often they have to repaint them after someone moves out. So that is an organization that I would definitely consider. All right. If you would like to book time with either Julie or I, you can scan this QR code. It will take you to our book time with me page. And I believe Colby is also going to drop that into the chat. I would like you to finish, to complete this short survey. And I would also like to hear at least one or two things that you plan on doing for in the next coming months. All right, so while y'all are dropping that chat in, I really would like to hear that of what information I provided for you today is going to be part of your action plan moving forward. All right, Colin asked, what's the difference in value between the portal membership and organizations like Chambers of Commerce and Apex? Colin, that's a really good question, and each of us bring value to the members or the participants. If you are going to join anything that has a cost to it, and that includes B2G Victory Portal, my suggestion is you date them before you marry. Basically, make sure that they are right fit for you and that you're providing value. So if you were logging into our portal as a free member and it keeps giving you that notification that what you're looking for requires a membership, then it may be of value to you because you're asking for a higher level of information than is provided on the free. Apex is a great solution. They are usually more focused on federal opportunities than state and local. Although if you get the right consultant, they're a little bit more open, but it is you get who they give you and not who you get to interview and decide if you want to work with them. Although, like I said, they provide some amazing resources, and we often refer clients that have smaller budgets to them to help them get started. And then they often refer people to us that need bigger projects done. All right, Rhonda's going to register with Sam. I love that. She's also going to build her capability statement. So, and Rhonda, there are some great tools on the portal and some great videos on what all information goes into your capability statement. And Rimbo's going to finish her SAM, and she's going to apply for the CMDL. She is also going to get her hub certification. She didn't list that there, but she is. Because there's some opportunities she wants to go after that wouldn't have made her life a lot easier. All right, anyone else? So Janet's going to finish her complete IMPP and trying to get a mentor, and to keep building relationships with primes and larger subs, and looking into joining some of the organizations you mentioned, and definitely going to sign up for Pancakes with Primes. Awesome. Going to build more experience and get to that prime level. All right, Colin, that is amazing. Yeah, you got to start somewhere, and starting at the subcontracting or informal is a easy way to get started. So I do hope that all of y'all come to next month's session, where we actually talk about informal and informal, and that should be Julie next month. And how you can build your business using that. BDG Victory does a lot of business with several different government entities in our area, and most of our work is on the informal level. All right, anyone have any remaining questions? It is 12:30 and we're finishing right on time. Any other questions? All right, everyone have an amazing weekend, and I probably won't talk to you. Well, some of you I will talk to before the 4th of July, but if I don't, have a great and safe 4th of July.